The sun was barely dipping below the horizon when Ethan parked his sleek black SUV at the edge of the cliff, the villa looming above like a silent sentinel. Every detail of the night had been meticulously planned, every move calculated. The $20 million Cliffside villa glimmered in the fading light, its glass walls reflecting the ocean waves far below. Ethan had rented it under his sister Clara's name for her birthday, and he knew exactly what would happen. She would claim it as her own, brag to her friends, and their mother would swoop in to validate her version, showering her with praise. But this time, Ethan was prepared. A silent alert system, tied directly to the villa's security contract, was already activated. Every violation, every unauthorized touch, would be flagged in real time. Tonight, he wasn't just giving a gift, he was setting a trap. Clara arrived, champagne in hand, wearing a designer dress that sparkled like the ocean behind her. Her eyes widened at the sight of the villa. "Ethan, this is insane!" she gasped, her voice full of delight and entitlement. She hadn't noticed the subtle blinking panel on the security console in the corner. She had no idea that every step she took would be silently monitored. Ethan smiled, offering her the keys. "Happy birthday," he said simply, the words masking the storm brewing beneath his calm exterior. Clara barely acknowledged him, rushing inside to explore her new home, already imagining Instagram posts, selfies with the cliffside view, and the praise she expected to receive. By the time their mother, Margaret, arrived, Clara was in full swing, pretending to act surprised, narrating every detail to a handful of friends who had conveniently shown up. "Can you believe Ethan rented this for me? Just for my birthday," she said, twirling on the balcony, unaware that the villa's security cameras had already registered her unauthorized party arrangements. Catering trucks unloading, tables being moved, and music systems plugged into circuits that weren't authorized. Every violation was pinging the alert system, sending silent messages directly to Ethan's encrypted phone. Margaret smiled, her eyes scanning the villa. Ethan had taught Clara to manipulate their mother, and tonight was no exception. "Ethan, you shouldn't have," she said, her voice sweet but knowing, reinforcing Clara's sense of superiority. Yet, as she moved toward the display cabinet in the living room, a moment of curiosity overpowered her usual caution. She carefully opened it, revealing a collection of priceless vintage crystal, each piece reflecting the setting sun like captured fire. Ethan's heart skipped a beat, but not from fear. He had anticipated this. Within seconds, a silent alert went off. The moment Margaret touched the first crystal, the system logged the violation: unauthorized handling of high-value asset. Security breach detected. Ethan watched from his private office, a storm of emotions churning: sadness, anger, but also the cold satisfaction of inevitability. Clara, oblivious to the alerts, began her party. Guests laughed, champagne flowed, and music pulsed through the villa like an artery feeding excitement. Ethan's phone vibrated with every breach, every movement that defied the contract. Yet he didn't move. He had to see everything unfold, had to witness the truth unravel. Clara danced near the balcony railing, laughter ringing like a bell, while Margaret lingered by the cabinet, occasionally touching the crystal as if testing its worth. The system registered each violation, each minor infraction, but Ethan didn't act. Not yet. He wanted the crescendo, the moment the facade collapsed. As the evening progressed, Clara's confidence grew. She stood on the cliffside terrace, arms spread wide, announcing to her guests that the villa was entirely hers for the night. Margaret clapped politely, encouraging her, still unaware of the silent alerts ticking away in Ethan's pocket. But then, subtle changes began. Guests bumped into crystal pieces, one of Clara's friends tried to lift a rare antique vase, and suddenly, the system's alerts escalated: potential damage detected, high-risk interaction logged. Ethan's pulse quickened, not with fear, but with anticipation. Every warning confirmed what he already knew. Neither Clara nor Margaret could resist the lure of ownership, the seductive thrill of possession. But tonight, the price of that thrill would be exposed. Then came the first disaster. A waiter, ignoring protocol, accidentally brushed against one of the display shelves. The crystal wobbled. Ethan's system recorded the exact trajectory, calculating potential damage. He stayed silent, his heart aching not just for the villa or the crystal, but for the family he had loved and trusted, now unraveling before his eyes. Clara noticed the commotion and laughed it off, pulling Margaret away, but Ethan had seen enough. He activated the next phase, live notifications to the villa's legal team, each alert now triggering immediate professional intervention. Within minutes, a voice echoed through the villa's intercom. This property is under strict contract. Unauthorized activity detected. Cease immediately. The room fell silent. Clara's laughter froze mid-air. Margaret's hand hovered over the crystal, guilt and shock mingling in her expression. Panic rippled through the guests. The intercom continued, unwavering. Any further violations will result in immediate legal action and financial liability. Ethan finally entered the room, his presence calm, almost ghost-like. "I think you both forgot who really holds the keys," he said softly, letting the weight of truth settle in the air. Clara's eyes widened, realization dawning too late. Margaret's face paled, the mother-daughter alliance cracking under the pressure of exposed deceit. Clara tried to deflect, to charm her way out, but Ethan remained unyielding. "You wanted to claim this villa as your own," he said, voice low, "and pretend I wasn't the one controlling every detail. But reality has a way of catching up." He gestured toward the display cabinet, and Clara froze. The crystal pieces shimmered in the dim light, each one untouchable, now a symbol of both beauty and consequence. Every alert, every violation, had been documented, and now legal proceedings had begun automatically. The villa's silent system had done its job. Margaret's gasp was audible, her eyes reflecting betrayal, not just at the villa but at Ethan himself. The heartbreak was mutual. Family trust had shattered, and no apologies could bridge the chasm. By midnight, the guests had left, whispering in shock about the sudden intervention. Clara and Margaret sat silently, stripped of pretenses, facing Ethan. Tears welled in Clara's eyes, but Ethan didn't offer comfort. Instead, he watched the consequences unfold, letting the weight of their choices sink in. Every step, every touch, every moment of greed had led here. And as he looked out over the cliffside, at the dark waves below reflecting the shattered illusions of that night, he realized that some gifts were never meant to bring joy, they were meant to reveal truth. Ethan walked to the balcony, the cool ocean breeze brushing against him. He raised his glass alone, toasting silently to clarity, to the power of foresight, to the strength it took to expose betrayal without uttering a single harsh word. Clara's sobs echoed behind him. Margaret's shame was tangible, and the villa, glorious, silent, immovable, stood as a monument to truth. Tonight, he hadn't just protected a property. He had protected himself from the illusion of family, from the betrayal disguised as celebration. The alerts had spoken, consequences had arrived, and in the quiet aftermath, Ethan understood that sometimes heartbreak was the only way to uncover love's true shape. The villa's lights dimmed one by one, leaving only the sound of waves crashing against the cliff, a reminder that some forces, like truth, were unstoppable, inevitable, and beautifully cruel.